welcome to Auto Mundial, the weekly car news and review show where this week we have a stunning new concept car from Audi, the jaw-dropping Sky Sphere.
We also have hot hatches from Honda, Hyundai and Audi in our latest track battle. We take a look at the new model from Chevrolet.
Plus, the new BMW X3M. Is this finally an SUV for keen drivers? Find out later on. First though, the news.
Lamborghini has revived the Countach name. Celebrating 50 years since the original Countach was revealed, the iconic Italian supercar brand has brought back the nameplate after more than 30 years. A homage to the original, this new Countach LPI 804 is a retro throwback with modern underpinnings. There are plenty of styling cues borrowed from the old car, while the mild hybrid V12 from the Sian delivers 803 brake horsepower. 112 examples will be built, with prices expected to be comparable with the £2.6 million Sian.
The BMW X3 has long been one of the most popular premium small SUVs, having practically invented the segment when the original launched way back in 2003. And while it may have grown since then, it's also gained some competition. Now though, it's been updated. The third-gen car has received a midlife facelift, but don't worry, it's one of BMW's better recent designs. The kidney grills have grown, and they're now joined in the middle, but they're far from 4 Series sized. And it isn't just the grille that's been redesigned. The whole front end has been refreshed with a more angular look and some smart new slim headlights. The rear end has had the same treatment, giving the X3 a modern new look. To complete the aesthetic updates, there's a range of new colour options and some new wheel designs. The coupe version, the X4, has had a similar range of updates, but still doesn't look quite as good as the X3 to us. And it isn't just on the outside where BMW has been busy. Climb inside and you'll find an updated interior too, with some more angular air vents to match the exterior, a new digital instrument panel, upgraded infotainment, and new switchgear, making the X3 feel very current. All models come with leather as standard, while the whole cockpit is filled with high quality materials. It's every bit the BMW, and it's practical too. We mentioned earlier that the X3 has grown over the years, so much so that this current car is bigger than the original X5. As such, it has a big boot and plenty of space for 5 passengers. There's no option for a third row of seats, but this is still a great family car. All versions now come with BMW's 48-volt mild hybrid system, which can provide an extra 11 horsepower when required. There are various petrol and diesel engines to choose from, as well as a plug-in hybrid model, but the flagship model is this, the new BMW X3M.
Specifically the X3M competition, the fastest and most expensive X3 you can buy. Like the regular car, the M has been subject to a host of cosmetic updates. The new grille is finished in gloss black, while there are some new, bigger air intakes to improve cooling. There's a new rear spoiler and some new alloy wheels, but it's under the bonnet that we're most interested in. The twin turbocharged 3-litre straight-six still produces the same 503 brake horsepower, but it now makes more torque, dropping the 0 to 62 time by 0.3 seconds to 3.8. That's very fast indeed, but again, the X3M, like the humbler versions, has some impressive rivals. Namely this, the beautiful Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Like the BMW, the Alfa has been subject to a recent refresh. It builds on the standard car with wider wheels and a lower, more aggressive stance. The acceleration is exactly the same too, while their respective top speeds are almost identical. One thing they can be separated on, however, is price. The handsome Alfa Romeo starts at a not inconsiderable £75,000. The BMW, though, that's 10 grand more. It's almost £7,000 more than the V8-powered Jaguar F-Pace SVR and a whopping 20,000 more than a Porsche Macan GTS. The X3M may well be right up there with the best in its class, but it certainly comes at a price.
And now part one of our hot hatch triple test.
Welcome to one of the more disparate hot hatch shootouts we've done in recent years, in which Audi's new four-wheel drive 306 bhp S3 takes on the slightly more civilised Sportline version of our current champ, the Honda Civic Type R, and a new dual-clutch version of Hyundai's already excellent i30N. The Audi is the most expensive at £38,415. The Honda and Hyundai both costing around 3 grand less. The Honda, however, is the most powerful and weighs the least, so it should still be the quickest. But the Audi's four-wheel drive system will definitely give it an advantage around here, as will the i30's new 8-speed dual-clutch gearbox. Hyundai first then. Let's see how they go against one another.
They really have got their act together with Hyundai's N division. Everything they touch just seems to turn to gold. The first i30N, absolute peach. And considering it was their first effort, mad how good that car is. How good this car is. But, you know, I think they made it even better with this DCT gearbox. You can tell where they've developed it, for whom they've developed it. Anyway, our lap time starts there. Yeah, it feels quite heavy under brakes into there, compared with other stuff that I remember. And a little bit front end heavy through there, but it really hangs on nicely out onto the back straight, up into fourth, at the flick of your fingers. God, it's quick in a straight line, this thing. Yeah, it's a lot of mass that wants to change direction there. It's good, but it's not awesome. And same into here as well, actually. The diff on this thing's very clever, but you can hear those front tyres being absolutely murdered. And the lap time stops there. 47.1, that's yeah, it's a quick lap time. But I think that's beatable. I reckon the Civic will spank that time, but the interesting thing is whether the Audi can get close to it or even beat it. I don't know. I'm sounding slightly underwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed by the i30N DCT. It is a cracking car, but it's just purely the numbers that have come up there. I actually thought it would be faster than that. I thought it might be half a second to a second faster than that. But there you go, you can't argue with the numbers. I've done several laps and that's the best lap time, 47.1. Let's see if the others can beat it.
Join us again after the break for more hot hatch action and the new Audi Sky Sphere. Coming up, Audi's incredible new concept Grand Tourer. But first, part 2 of our hot hatch track battle.
In truth, we expected a little bit more from the new i30N DCT. But then, as they say, the stopwatch never lies. Audi next then, could the S3 set a time to at least worry the mighty Civic Type R, wing or no wing?
So even though it's bright blue, I think the S3 could be the dark horse in this group. And on the move, it feels very tidy. It's not kind of grab you by the throat and make you go into ecstasy about how wonderfully dynamic and sporting it is, but it is deceptive, it's effective, it feels flipping quick. Let's find out exactly how quick in a sec when we start the lap. Rolls a bit there, starting there. God, it does feel pretty rapid in a straight line. Need a fair bit of space to slow down. Turns in through there well, and the four-wheel drive system just fires it out of there. That's nice. Little dab on the brakes and it brought the tail round. Oh dear. No, that's not good. That is not good at all, the way it washes wide into near terminal understeer there. Braking for this quick chicane. Whoa. Yeah, you see it just ultimately wants to kind of fall over itself at both ends, unfortunately, and through here. There's your lap time. Blimey. There you go. It feels curiously undramatic in the way it does stuff, other than the fact that it understeers ultimately, which isn't pleasant, but it's quite fast against the clock. 46.3 seconds. That's quite fast. It's faster than the Hyundai, which I absolutely did not expect. Okay, it's more expensive, but I thought the Hyundai would take care of this. Anyway, the question that now needs answering is, can the Civic Type R Sportline, a little bit softer than the previous generations, can it go better still? I think I know what the answer is going to be, but let's find out.
The S3 was deceptively rapid around Landau, setting a time of 46.3 seconds, even though it didn't feel as exciting as the Hyundai in the process. But unless the Sportline version of the Civic Type R has taken a big step down the ladder against the clock, it was still the red-hot favourite to take this one.
Doesn't feel that much different to the Civic Type R GTs that we know and love, especially around here. Does the Sportline. There's no wing at the back, so you can actually see quite a lot more out of the rear window, but beyond that, it really does feel the same. Fantastic car. 316 horsepower, 400 and something newton meters of torque, and only 1,400 and a bit kilograms. It's a rocket ship, we know that. The lap starts there. It just always feels so quick in a straight line, the Civic. But then you come to the braking and it's like that. It's so alert. These Pilot Sport 4S's work an absolute treat around here, I have to say. Wow. Wow. This car is so quick and capable and brilliant. It's so much faster than the other two through there. It just feels like a flipping racing car, this thing. Miles better through that bottom corner. Oh. I mean, there's your lap time. What is it? So that's done 45.7. Audi did 46.3, so that's 6/10, which sounds nothing, but this is a really short lap. That's a big difference around here. And then 47.1 for the Hyundai, so 45.7. Yeah, it's nearly 1.5 seconds quicker than the Hyundai around here. That's chalk and cheese. And I know the i30N is a great car. It's a really good one with the dual clutch gearbox as well, but it cannot hold a candle to this thing. This thing is immense. And I don't think the fact that they've put smaller wheels on it and taken the wing off the back has made any difference to how it feels from here, other than the fact that it does feel just a touch softer, which is basically even better still. Your winner.
So there you go, the Sportline version of the Civic Type R wasn't just as quick as the regular bewinged model outright, but it was still within a tenth of it. And if anything, it felt even sweeter to drive, because it was that little bit softer over Landau's bumps. Either way, it was still quick enough to comprehensively beat the more expensive Audi S3 and positively demolish the similarly priced Hyundai DCT. So look, whatever else happens in this life and during these increasingly strange times, one thing remains a constant. The Civic Type R is still king hot hatch. The end.
It seems that Japanese and Korean manufacturers have been dominating the crossover class recently, so is there room for an all-American alternative? Well, this is the new Chevrolet Trailblazer, and its aim is to steal sales from Mazda, Kia and Hyundai in the US market. With prices starting at just under $20,000, the entry-level car is pretty basic, making do with just the one colour option and steel wheels rather than alloys. Spend an extra few thousand though and the Trailblazer becomes a real rival to the likes of the Hyundai Venue and Kia Seltos, with some sportier styling tweaks and more equipment. There are two engines to choose from, both turbocharged 3 cylinders. The cheaper option is a 1.2, putting out 137 horsepower, while the bigger 1.3 produces 155. The smaller engine cars are front-wheel drive only, while buyers of the bigger motor get the option to upgrade to all-wheel drive, although even these top-spec cars can only get to 62 miles per hour from rest in under 10 seconds. The cabin isn't quite as good looking as the rest of the car, but it's functional and well equipped with wireless smartphone charging, adaptive cruise control and a decent infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There is a lot of plastic on show, but it does feel durable, and higher spec cars get some nice chrome trim to brighten it up. Overall though, there are better options out there. For the price of a mid-level Trailblazer, you could comfortably get our favourite car in this class, the excellent Mazda CX-30. The Chevy may be good looking, but in this hotly contested corner of the market, that simply is not enough.
You never really know what you're going to get when Audi announces a new concept car. From practical EVs to autonomous off-roaders, the Ingolstadt designers love to let their hair down once in a while, and now they've brought us this, the Sky Sphere. The first in a trio of Sphere concepts, the Sky Sphere is a two-seater roadster with classic proportions, but a thoroughly modern look. Don't be fooled though by the long bonnet, there's no V8 or V10 lurking under it. It's 2021 after all, so this concept car is all electric. And while the numbers may be somewhat arbitrary on a concept car, Audi claims a 310-mile range and an electric motor on the rear axle, putting out more than 620 brake horsepower. And despite a curb weight of 1.8 tonne, Audi reckons it could still hit 62 miles per hour from a standstill in 4 seconds flat. But this is a Grand Tourer, and as such Audi has come up with 2 different driving modes to reflect that. Grand Touring mode allows you to sit back and relax as the car retracts the steering wheel and pedals and drives itself with its level 4 autonomy. The mode that we're more interested in though is simply called Sport. Not only does this give the driver back their pedals and steering wheel, but the car shrinks. The wheelbase is shortened by 25 centimetres, reducing the overall length from 5.19 metres to 4.94. The ride height drops too, while the infotainment screen splits, giving the driver a better view. It's all very clever stuff, very futuristic, and yet the inspiration came not from science fiction and artist renders, but from 1937. Designers looked back to the Horch 853 and took inspiration from its quintessential long bonnet, with the small but luxurious cabin tucked away towards the rear. It's a look that really works on a luxury Grand Tourer. The Sky Sphere perfectly captures the glamour and elegance of some of the great Grand Tourers. It's a modern interpretation of the golden age of motoring, with timeless proportions and an emphasis on luxury and performance. The interior is much less timeless, but utterly cutting edge, with a full-width screen and Grand Touring mode, and shapes that appear to have come straight from an architect's portfolio. It is an incredible piece of design, but sadly one which will probably never see production.
Join us again next week on Auto Mundial as we check out the all-new Skoda Fabia.